Welcome home, coming to you from the Irish Roots Cafe, where every day's a holiday and there's always room for one more. Come right this way, have a seat with me today in the corner booth celebrating our 81st week. Sweeney, clear the floor. Katie, bar the door. Molly, put on another pot of Irish coffee. It's time we get this show on the road. We got another full house today, not a chair to spare. This is Mike OLaughlin, your host. You can reach me anytime on our webpage at irishroots.com, and you can search all our books there for free, and you can also search our podcast by typing things in, and you can check out our blog. That makes it a lot easier to find these places I talk about in the podcast. Little links there you just click on, and you go right to the page we talked about. And yes, it's all just another free service from the Irish Roots Cafe. And remember, you can phone me at 816-256-3360 and leave your comments, your family search, your song, or your recitation on my recorder. Try it, you'll like it. Well, what have we got coming up here now? Let's start right into today's topics. We're searching for Monaghan, O'Leary, O'Connor, Smith, and Shillington. Noble is the name of the day. County Fermanagh is the book of the week. The enhanced version of this broadcast now available. Burial problems for Muslims and atheists in Ireland. MacNean House is the restaurant of the year. Activity at Glasnevin Cemetery in Dublin. And the Claddagh Dance Company. Hey, that reminds me, you can get all three of my free broadcast series online. The Irish in America, Irish Families Worldwide, which is this one right here, and Irish Song and Recitation. I've got to get back on that one. We've been having some fun. We're going to come up with a CD here pretty soon just for Irish families. It should be a lot of fun, if nothing else. Well, let's take a look at the notes this week. We've got an enhanced version of this podcast coming out, and it's now available in that format, and it just means that we have one podcast, which is just like this with voice only, the original version, and each week we also put out a podcast that is the very same, except it has pictures and links in it, if you have the ability to get that on your little receivers. So both versions have the very same words, it's just the other one's got some pictures and some links in it, might make it a little bit more fun. But they're both available on the webpage. I'll have the links on my blog. And, of course, they're both going to be available at iTunes. I think right now just the regular one's available, and the new one should be coming up this week or next. As soon as they get it processed, you never know how long you got to wait for those big boys to do things. But that's what we're doing, waiting for that now. But they'll both be up there. But right now they're both on the homepage, of course. You can go right there and get them. Well, let's move up to the Magnificent 7 search list. What do we have today? Well, gold sponsor Sandra Faye Nagy of Duncan in Canada is looking for William Smith, born 1803, Ballinderry Parish, County Antrim, and says, I am attempting to connect with anyone who has information on this family and the Shillington family. William's mother was a Shillington. Well, thanks for that, Sandra Faye, for helping us out being a sponsor, and we'll do what we can. Anybody hears anything they need to get contact with our folks here, the Magnificent 7, I'll put you in touch right away. I'll let them know you're looking. Number 2, Mary Allen of Wiltshire in the UK. Your Irish Families book has shipped. Number 3, new member Stephen Freeman of Seattle, Washington, searching for Monaghan and O'Connor. Thanks for joining up. Number 4, new member Betty Bellafay of Mesa, Arizona, searching for the birthplace of Richard O'Leary. That reminds me of a song. Well, how'd that go? My name is Paddy Leary from a spot in Tipperary. That's a good old song off to Philadelphia. We're going to have that one on the CD we put out, too. But to get back to important things, searching for the birthplace of Richard O'Leary, born August 8, 1836 in County Cork, and came to the USA around 1850. Married Dorothy Long in California and moved to Nevada around 1870. He worked in the mining business, and he died in Lewis, Nevada in 1899. Number 5, Fred Potts of Mirnham, Canada. Your Kilkenny genealogy book has shipped. Number 6, Andrew Reynolds of Ballsbridge, Dublin, Ireland. Your Roscommon genealogy book is shipped. And number 7, Midwest Library Service. Your 26-book set on the Irish Families Project has shipped. That's all the spiral-bound county volumes we have in that project. So that was just a great order. Helps keep things rolling. And thanks to all of our members, because without you, these podcasts would not be possible at all. Well, let me see what we're moving to now. Let's go to we're going to go on to the book of the month. And that's going to be Genealogy and Family History Notes on County Fermanagh in Ireland. And we've got a clickable link on that on the Enhanced podcast. You'll see a little picture there. You click on it. We'll have a way to go right to that book if you want. And here's a little sample extract from that book. And it gives the 19th century names that are most popular in the birth index at that time in Fermanagh. And names like McGuire, McManus, Dolan, McGovern, Johnston, McHugh, Cassidy, Wilson, Thompson, Elliott, Irvin, McLaughlin, Gallagher, Murphy, Riley, Fitzpatrick, and Flanagan. Those are the top-ranked ones at that time. Of course, there's a lot more names in the county, but you can't have them all, can you now? Well, let me see. County Fermanagh, let me see. Well, let's go down to the Annals of Ireland by the Four Masters, our Connellan translation, and see what names they put on the map. They drew that map up in the mid-1800s, and they put what families were prominent in earlier times. It's a big folding map in the back of the Annals. And they've got names like, gosh, I don't think I can read them all, can I? It'd be too many names to hit, that's for sure. But there's names, of course, like a McCaffrey and McIntaggart. And, of course, McIntaggart can be abbreviated to Taggart or McTaggart. Then names like Garahan, Donald, McDonald, Gilfinnan, McGuire, McGill Shannon, Casey, McLennan, McManus, Corcoran, O'Lunan, O'Meehan, Muldoon, Mulroney, Tracy, Hosey, Gorman. I tell you, I don't have enough time to read them all, but I listed each and every one of them on our webpage. So if you've got an interest in families in that area, it's the deal for you. Remember, coming up later in this episode, how many Muslims do you think there are in Ireland today? There's a brand new group that moved into Ireland. Let's just see what they're up to. Let me see. Next, it's time to do what? We're moving on to, let me see, we've got that. We've got this taken care of. Boy, so many pieces of paper, I don't know what to do. Let me set all these magnificent 7 people aside here. We're done with that. It's going to be the Irish family name of the day, and that name is Noble. That's in honor of member John M. Noble of Sudbury in Canada. And so he's searching for Noble, Bride, Hodgins, Blaney, and Twitty. Or I guess you could spell and say that one several different ways. He says he's researching his noble ancestors from McGuire's Bridge in County Fermanagh from 1790 to 1825. And in particular is looking for John, Ralph, and Alexander. Related spellings of the name are Lenoble. There'd be a little L-E in front of the name, and sometimes that got dropped. In N-O-B-E-L, in addition to N-O-B-L-E. And, of course, you'll also find a lot of times they'll spell that with a K in front of the name, K-N or K-N-O-W-B-L-E. And I even found Noblet, and if you drop that T, it becomes Noble, and that's a Huguenot name. We talked a little bit about that a few episodes ago. And we've taken most of these from the Master Guide to the various spellings of Irish family names. Now we'll just have a few notes on a name. We don't have a whole lot of information in the Book of Irish Families, but it's a name that is assumed to be of English extraction in Ireland, and it's found there at least by the 17th century and probably quite a bit earlier, I think. And many of the names are found in Fermanagh and Antrim, as well as in Dublin City. And, of course, that's not surprising. And the noble family of Glasnevin, County Fermanagh, is on record there from at least the early 18th century. We'll talk a little about that in a second. And the birth index of 1890 finds the family centered in Antrim and Dublin. And that, of course, is taken from the Book of Irish Families, Great and Small. And now let's talk a little bit about the Irish family coats of arms. We took a look at the Irish Book of Arms, and what did we find? We found Noble of Glasnevin in County Fermanagh. And I couldn't make out those pictures. What was it? It looked like there was three tiger faces on that shield, and a couple of circles were there, and on the crest there was a bird, and there was something on the beak. So that'd be interesting to find out exactly just what that was, but that's what we had, or that's what I saw in the Irish Book of Arms. I think we're going to move on to the free master index search of Irish names, and at irishroots.com, and that finds the noble family name 23 times, and it includes these examples. We found it in the families of County Kerry, Ireland, and County Donegal families books, and in King James Irish Army List. That's a big old book. And also in the families of County Limerick book. And plus, in our Spiral Bound series, the county histories or genealogy books, genealogy and family history notes, they're in the books for Antrim, Roscommon, Waterford, Longford, Louth, and Fermanagh. Boy, the Fermanagh keeps turning up, so you'd think there'd be quite a few there. Governor Patrick Noble is found in the Master Index to Irish periodicals in our little search. That's the Journal of the Irish American, or the American Irish Historical Society. And we also find William Clark Noble in volume 30 of that periodical. And lastly, number 7, we have Howards, Nobles, and Lithgows in Main History was the title of that article, and that was in volume 19 of the journal. Well, I think we'll just take a peek now at some websites of the week. We'll move to Glasnevin Cemetery, that's in Dublin, and they've been in the news a couple of times, but I thought you might want to know that they're still up to things. And the site we've got is, just click that on our blog and it'll go right there. It's glasnevin-cemetery.ie/. And it has information on the cemetery itself and on the restoration plans. And that's going on right apace, I believe. And according to their webpage, they say that the cemetery currently gives walking tours, and they give insight into the final resting places of famous people and just the regular people like those famine immigrants who got interred there. And it also gives an account of thousands of different people. So it'd sure be an interesting tour to take. And that little walking tour takes about an hour and a half, and it includes the graves of famous people like Dan O'Connell, old Dan O'Connell down there from Kerry, and he was known as the Liberator. Charles Stewart Parnell, Eamon de Valera, James Larkin, Maud Gon McBride, Countess Markovitz, Anne Devlin, Brendan Behan, Michael Collins, and many, many others. They say that at least on the web page, it says the tours take place every Wednesday and Friday at 2:30, and you can make bookings and inquiries by email. So if you go to that web page, you can get a hold of them. We're going to have another web page of the week here. It's going to be the Claddagh Dance Company, and that's claddahdance.com. You spell Claddagh, C-L-A-D-D-A-G-H. They give folks a lot of help and entertainment all over California and Utah, and it said they've added a touch of authentic Irish culture to the lives of Southern California communities, and they go all the way back to 1985. Now, students there can be 4 years old, just little toddlers and learning things, or they can be adults. And they say if you want to be a champion anymore, you better start at age 4. I don't know. Irish dancing, it has all ethnicities are welcome at that school, and that's the way it should be. The Irish, they invite everybody into the fun, so everybody's welcome, and students can compete all the way throughout the world if they're good enough, and they can participate in local community events too. So that'd be a good thing to be getting into instead of all that trouble you might be getting into instead. For more information on the dance company, just visit them and click on their About Us section, and you'll find out a whole lot. Well, I think it's time for Curious News and Notes. Well, they've got some burial problems in Ireland. It seems it's It's a problem to be buried in Ireland if you're an atheist or a Muslim, according to reports. One fella had wanted to get somebody buried, but they were an atheist, and the church said you'd have to commit to being one of the faithful to be buried there or have a religious ceremony. They didn't want any part of that, so they couldn't get buried there, and that really limits their choices locally, because everything's Catholic, Presbyterian, and Church of Ireland. They own all the graveyards in certain areas, and some people just wouldn't want to abide by a religious burial. Now, I read this article, it also said that there's 32,000 Muslims in Ireland. I don't know if that's Muslim immigrants or Muslim religion, but it says that the Council of Imams is calling for Muslim burial spots to be provided for by the government. Right now, it sounded like they had to go to Dublin. Another interesting problem, but that's just one of those things the government has to sort out, I guess. Number 2, the Great Escapes Travel Agency. I think we mentioned that a little while back in Swinford, County Mayo. They've gone out of business, and it was rather sudden, as you might say. They might have had to run out the back door or climbed out the window. But they left several hundred folks stranded outside of Ireland on vacation. But it sounded like they're being taken care of one way or another. I sure hope nobody got stuck. Or if you got stuck, it was in a nice place. Number 3, the Restaurant of the Year. It's been named in Ireland, and it is MacNean House and Bistro, located at Black Lion, County Cavan. And that was the Food and Wine magazine that said that. And County Cavan's also said to be the spot of the oldest fair in Ireland, dating all the way back to the 12th century. And that fair is called the Muff Horse Fair, usually held on August 12, unless it's on a Sunday. Then it's on another day. Number 4, they're building a heritage center at Glasnevin Cemetery in Dublin, and they're also going to have a museum. That was our website of the day. And the graves of Daniel O'Connell, like I said, and Parnell are found there, as well as victims of the famine. And especially if you've got somebody that passed away or lived in Dublin, that's a good cemetery to check out, so don't forget it. And number 5, good old Mick O'Donnell gives a walking tour in Little Limerick based on the book Angela's Ashes, so it's a pretty neat little thing to go. If you like the book, you can see all the places they were talking about. Strange thing is, on this one time, a guy just jumped right into the tour and helped him out, and it was none other than Frank McCourt himself. Now, wouldn't that be a treat to be taking that tour and to have the author show up? I guess that's the only time it had happened. But that's the way it works in Ireland. You just never know when a neat thing's going to just run on into you. Well, I tell you, we've got a busy month ahead of us yet, and we're doing all kinds of neat things I'll be telling you about. And we're learning how to make this enhanced podcast work, too. So if you can receive those, be sure to check that out. We'll be working on it. And now it's time for us to wrap it all up. Remember to send your comments by clicking the contact link on our webpage at www.irishroots.com, or send it to our American address at Box 7575, Kansas City, Missouri, 64116. Leave your message or report on things in your part of the world on my phone recorder at 816-256-3360, and you can always Skype me at Irish Roots Cafe. Members foot the bill, so they get first priority, but we're open to all. And by the way, a big thank you to all of our members. And away.